There was a disconnect between people and their food system, so we wanted to make that connection by bringing the farm to the people. There's a social justice issue here where people aren't getting access to fresh foods into low-income areas, and we wanted to be a production and distribution center to provide that service for those communities.
We're a WWOOF host really because one of the main missions of the project is to reconnect people to their food source and how it's grown, and as by being a WWOOF host, that allows us not only to reconnect woofers to how food is grown if they're not familiar with it. Oftentimes that's a part of the reason why they're doing the project, but it also allows us to act as a center to educate people that would hopefully move this movement out so that they can be educators and they can reconnect people to how food and how it's grown themselves. So Soilborn actually has two farming sites that we're farming at. The one behind you that I'm sitting at today is our 2-acre Hurley Way site. That's a very urban farm in the middle of the city of Sacramento, located directly next to Jonas Salk Middle School. And then about 15 miles away, you could actually bike to it directly down the American River Bike Trail. And that's a 40-acre ranch located directly on the American River. We're farming actively on about 5 acres of that this year, so it's a different scale. We have much more of a rototiller weed whacker hand scale here at the small farm. Over at the other farm, it's still hand farming, but then you also have the tractor and just a much larger landscape, so you can really get two different feels by coming here to Soilborn Farm.
The woofer exchange is pretty basic. They come and work about 6 to 8 hour day, which is probably a little more than they say in the WWOOF booklet. But we just, they do the work for 8 hours, and then we end up providing a place to stay and really good food. Farmers may not make a lot of money, but we sure do eat well. We eat everything from the farm, all the vegetables, and then we supplement that with food from the Sacramento Natural Foods Co-op. We like the woofers to come and stay for 2 days to 2 weeks generally. However, we may be able to accommodate woofers for about a month this year, so we'll see.
The woofers generally stay usually in a camping arrangement. We usually have space to pitch a tent either here at the small 2-acre Hurley Way farm or also out at the 40-acre ranch. There's plenty of spots to pitch a tent there. And then they have access to the kitchen, dining areas, bathrooms.
We have an on-the-leash policy, so if people come with their dogs and they have them on the leash at all times, then they're able to take their dog, but otherwise they wouldn't be able to. Got a beautiful river just a couple hundred yards in that direction, and there's a beautiful swimming hole, and there's also a bike path that goes for about 25 miles down at the river, so people do a lot of biking and hiking and walking. It's pretty nice. And they can walk out the door, about a 15-minute walk, take a light rail to downtown Sacramento and take a train to San Francisco. Probably take 3 hours. There's absolutely no experience required or desired necessarily. As a matter of fact, I like to have woofers come who have absolutely no experience so that we can see their eyes being open to new activities and the life on a farm. Woofers can expect to learn quite a bit. We have a really diverse operation here, so they can learn anything from the greenhouse to the field to the packing to the marketing aspects of the farm. We'll allow them to take part in almost any part of the farm, but probably more importantly, they get that experience of understanding the rhythms of what farm life is. And for me, that's probably the most important thing that happened to me when I was a woofer. I was definitely able to take things that I learned from around the world and apply it to the farm here. It was just an eye-opening experience to see how different cultures and different people did it. But more than anything, it was just, being there with the people and the community life, which was the most rewarding for me.
So food access in Sacramento is limited at best in certain locations. As in many big cities, we have somewhat they're considered kind of like food deserts of sorts, where you have underserved neighborhoods that just aren't the target market for large grocery stores. So usually where the food access for fresh fruits and vegetables comes from corner stores, small markets, and generally speaking that's it. And the quality is low at best, and then the pricing isn't always the best. What we've done is we've created our own farmers market in underserved neighborhoods, which also is not a place where farmers markets are traditionally set up as well. And through all of our food access outlets, we accept EBT. Our farmers market is the only farmers market in Sacramento County that accepts EBT. And you'll also be able to accept EBT at our farm stands that we're putting in the community, as well as the farm stand that we hold on our 40-acre ranch in Rancho Cordova.
It's good to take part in a system that is using as little petroleum as possible. I mean, you know, these days the big thing is global warming and high gas prices, and by eating local and supporting your local farmers, you're taking the food system out of the big oil. The main thing with the CSA is creating that relationship between the farmer and the consumer. So like I was saying before, there's this disconnect, you know, in society today between the farmer and the consumer. With the CSA, there's a commitment on both sides. In our CSA boxes, depends on the season. In the spring, we have all of the root crops, so carrots, beets, turnips, radish, all the greens, lettuces, kales, chard, and the squash is just starting to come in about a month and a half. Then tomatoes and heirloom tomatoes and cherry tomatoes and melons and corns and bean and the gamut, really. You can get anything here. And at most CSAs, the thing that keeps people coming is the diversity.